I am Nicolette Halladay, and we are kicking off the Author Spotlight, where we dive into the stories, wisdom, and experience of incredible authors who are making an impact in their communities and beyond. I'm your host, Nicolette Halladay, and today I'm so thrilled to introduce you to Roxy Rapedius. Roxy is an executive mindset and wellness coach. She is the CEO of Life Coach with Roxy and passionate advocate for personal transformation. She's been featured in Brains Magazine and, of course, Inspired Hearts published author. Welcome, Roxy.
Thank you very much for allowing me to spend time with you.
Thank you for being here. It's so wonderful to connect with you. Before we dig in, I have to say, Roxy is so dear. She wrote in the first book that I produced, Mystics Revealed, and the most recent one, Sacred Self. We'll talk a little bit about that. But it's just always incredible to get to spend some time with you, Roxy. So I want to kind of kick things off. Let's start with your journey of becoming an author and what inspired you to say yes, especially to that first book, right? Mystics Revealed. You rose your hand and you're like, yeah, I want to share my story.
Well, I always wanted to write a book. I always wanted to be an author. And I was very skeptical to start off at first because I really thought that I was not a good writer. And, I was really worried about what people might think of my writing. And one day I just woke up and I just decided, I said, I want to be an author and I want to write my story. And probably, I would say 2 hours on Facebook, you DM'd me.
From making that decision?
From making that decision. So the universe works in weird ways, but I really believe that once you make that decision, the universe will work with you to get you where you want to be.
Give you the opportunities. That was a real instant manifestation, wasn't it?
It sure was. Well, mind you, it had been in the works for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But I think as I decided,
making that final decision, so it was an easy yes for you.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit about kind of what you shared, but writing can be such a personal and transformational process. You shared a really personal piece in stories, especially in Mystics Revealed. How was being part of that book and the community of authors impacted you?
I found it really, really, it was wonderful. And all the other ladies that were involved in the book were so nice and so welcoming. I found that everybody, there was no judgment. Everybody just welcomed you into their life, basically telling their own stories. And that first piece for me was very cathartic. It was just releasing everything that I had bottled in. And I thought that I had healed from a lot of things that I've mentioned in the book. And actually, that was probably the last straw where after I wrote it and reread it, it all came off my shoulders.
You finally were able to
the healing was finally done.
Yeah.
And just to be able to share my story so other people can read it and learn that they're not alone, that a lot of people are in the same boat, and that you can just come out of it shining and surviving.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think your chapter in Mystics Revealed was so, it really was that I'm sharing my vulnerability with you and connecting with people in this really intimate way. How did that feel when you were putting such a personal story and kind of your own healing journey out for the world to get to receive it?
It actually felt really, really good. And for me, it was just to show everybody that your past and whatever you've gone through doesn't define you, and you can be whomever you want to be. And it's basically a story of courage and resilience, and that you can come out at the end and be what I called in my book, the surviving bluebird.
Surviving Bluebird. Here it is, Mystics Revealed. We'll make sure to link up the link to be able to purchase it so you can grab a copy for anyone who is watching and read Roxy's chapter and get a little bit of her magic in that. So what was your favorite part of contributing to the books, either Mystics Revealed or Sacred Self, or both of them?
Well, the best thing is to basically meet all these wonderful people, because you're not alone, and just to learn about how everybody works together. It was so wonderful to be able to meet every week and share stories and share insights and what people are going through and how they're dealing with it and how they're healing and so on. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the community element of it is something I've always gotten the feedback that was, such a valuable part of the experience of contributing to a multi-author book.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been until really recently that it really solidified for me how valuable that is, especially when we're sharing really intimate and personal stories, especially when we are, kind of taking our leap in visibility and putting ourselves out there and doing this new thing, getting published. It creates this really just cohesive group, and we really, really want to see each other succeed and are supportive, nurturing. So it's definitely something that I have taken a lot of honor in getting to facilitate those containers. So I want to dig in a little bit to the work that you're doing, because beyond being an author, you are deeply committed to helping people through your work as an executive mindset and wellness coach. Can you share a little bit about the work you do and how you are serving your clients?
Yeah, as a coach, I take a comprehensive approach that integrates the multifaceted aspects of my clients' lives, including their intellectual, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. So by acknowledging and addressing their interconnectedness of these elements, I empower individuals to create profound and lasting changes that resonate throughout their entire being. And I work with both individuals and organizations as well.
Yeah, I have to say, you are definitely someone who's walking your walk. I feel like you experienced this, you really embodied it, you learned it, and now you're sharing it. And I think there's something so kind of anchoring in that. So yeah, so I want to kind of give you a little bit of kudos about that. So mindset and wellness play such a huge role in our lives. And what are some of the biggest challenges your clients face? How do you support them through those transitions?
A lot of the challenges that I find my clients face is limiting beliefs. It's just carrying it through their lives, and it's basically getting them stuck in phases of their lives, and they have a hard time moving forward because the negative self-talk and the constant telling themselves that they're not good enough, or they're failing, or they're not loved, or is really, really affecting them moving on. And what they're attracting as well, as far as relationships, whether it's at work or through their personal lives, is deeply affected by their limiting beliefs. And then once we get through that, we can work through their relationships and their wheel of life and so on, and get them moving.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we get in these loops and sometimes we can't see our own limitations. And that's a gift that you kind of extend to your clients. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so success isn't just about achievement, as you well know.
Mhm.
It's about alignment. So what's the key practice? What's a key practice or mindset shift that has helped you or your clients unlock a greater success? For anyone that's watching, that we can give them just a little taste.
One of the biggest factors that also prevents people from moving on is actually self-love.
Mm,
If you don't love yourself, or if you're not confident, or if you don't have the self-esteem to do things, it's going to prevent you from advancing, in whether it's personal or career or so on. And this was a big thing for me, once I finally found out who I was and who I wanted to be and how I projected myself,
mm,
whether it was on paper or personally, online and so on. That was a catalyst for me.
absolutely.
And I'm going to give you an example. I too work with a coach.
Mhm.
And before I started being a coach, I was working and I wanted to advance in certain things. And she was kind of helping me with my resume.
Mm,
And when I talked to her on the phone, and then when I sent her my resume, she said to me, she's like, what you're telling me and how passionate you are and how you're talking about yourself does not reflect it on your resume.
mm,
So she said, I want you to display who you are passionately on your resume. So we worked on that. And then I
mm,
was able to get another job higher than what I had before.
mm,
And it's also walking and showing up as who you want to be.
mm.
So for me, and I'm going to give you an example, if you want to be badass, you have to act like you're a badass, and you have to show up as a badass.
Yeah.
So if you're always negative, if you're always down, if you
Mhm.
see everything in a negative light, well, it's not going to give you badass.
Yeah.
So it's about changing that mindset to reflect who you really are.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I think the interesting thing is we can get caught in these loops at any time. We can do a bunch of work and then find ourselves caught in another loop.
Yeah.
And really until you have someone who is able to see you without those loops, without, outside of you, and kind of help you shine a light on it, I think it can be really hard to move past it on
Yeah.
your own. Not that you can't, but I think it requires like a great level of like reflection and digging in and really
Yes.
pinpointing the things that are maybe kind of keeping us stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that there you've had some big changes recently. You recently wrote a solo book, so I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about that. And how did writing in Mystics Revealed and Sacred Self kind of prepare you for writing and publishing your new book?
It actually gave me the confidence to do it,
Mm,
because I was published in 2 books, and both of our books in with Inspired Hearts were #1 on Amazon.
mhm,
So it really gave me the confidence and self-esteem to be able to just put pen to paper
mm.
and just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just do it, because and I'm seeing a lot of people lately, um, they write beautifully, whether it's poems or stories, and I always tell them, like, just write a book.
Yes, it's
Get out
not.
there and write a book, because there's so many publishers out there that you can work with. And
Yeah,
even if you do it like we did it with our 2 books, and write as a collaboration,
yeah.
just get yourself out there.
Yes.
And for me, I didn't even know I was going to write that book until my father passed away on September 1st. And I'm actually experiencing grief and bereavement through some of the trainings that I've had. And when my father passed away, it was a couple days after he passed away, and I had a dream, and my dad said, "You have to write that book. You have to write the book about grief."
Oh,
Because you're so enthralled into it and you have to write it.
It's
And
not, the time is now, like it's ripe.
yeah. So I wrote it, and I actually self-published it myself, and through Amazon, and it's now on Audible.
Yay.
Which is pretty
Congratulations.
cool. Yes, I had it narrated by a friend.
Okay.
And so he did an amazing job. And yeah, so now it's on Audible.
What's
And
the title of the book, and do you have it so you can show people? Do you have a copy with you? Yeah.
this is what it looks like. And it's called The Weight of Goodbye: Lessons in Loss and Growth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to link that up in the comments too, so anyone can take advantage of checking that out. I think when you said that it kind of gave you the confidence to be able to do it, I think one thing that happens when the idea of writing and publishing a book, it feels like this big, massive thing. And I think one of the beautiful parts about joining a collaboration is you see how easy it actually is. Oh yeah, this isn't rocket science.
Yeah.
And it kind of pushes you to do it, pushes you to get past your stuff, pushes you. One thing with working with solo authors that happens a lot of times, I'm getting a little bit, is they come up with blocks that they just have a hard time, it prolongs it, they have to work through it. And I think in that group setting, it just kind of says, yeah, we see your block, we're still moving. So I'm glad that you got to kind of grab some of that momentum and confidence from those books and say, I'm doing this. I want to talk to you just a little bit about how the book came through, because I know you had that dream, you were experiencing so much grief, you knew you had this that you needed to share, and you said it basically just came through. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So I had experienced quite a few things, like losses, and it's not, and when I talk about grief, it's not just loss of life. It's loss of job, it's a divorce, it's loss of identity through something that's happened, like especially for me in my book, it was being sexually abused as a child. So lost my identity at 8 years old. And then I had a divorce as well. So the loss of my marriage. And all these things is every time something like this happens, you have to learn how to live with the new person, like your new self, because you're changing, right?
Yeah.
With your divorce, you're going to be learning how to live without that person that was with you, without that spouse or without that partner.
Yeah.
And I also lost a friend to suicide. So learning to live without that friend that you constantly were with. So it's evolving, and grief never goes away. You get to learn how to integrate it into your life. And as you move on, and as you celebrate the memories, and not focus on the bad of all these things, helps you move through that space and through your life. And you get to learn to live without that person, or you get to learn to live without that job that you had. It's because it's a constant trying over.
Yeah.
And so you get to learn how to live with the new you.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't hear very many people really talking about this, and it really hits true, because I've experienced that kind of, the loss of a marriage and the new me. It was like a new identity. I was really felt like a new person. And
Yeah.
that can be really confusing. It can feel really freeing and liberating in some ways. It can feel really confusing and lonely. Like there's the whole spectrum of emotions
Yeah.
that come through. And I think just like talking about it and shining awareness on it, like, yes, like major life transitions and traumas and changes change us. And
Yeah.
we have to reacclimate to this world that we're living in.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I feel like I feel like I could talk to you more and more. It's so, this is just I know that, you've had a recent transition, with your business, and you're adding in some new services. Do you wanna share a little bit about what you're up to and what you're most excited about how you're supporting your clients?
Yes, so I'm going to be introducing a membership program for my life coaching. So you can subscribe to it, whether you're a classic member or whether you're a VIP member. You get a little bit more added on to your membership, which provides like resources, webinars, or courses, or for example, the VIP will add a personality behavioral disc assessment with one session with me on how to put actions and plans together to be able to communicate better with other individuals, and how to decipher other individuals in what kind of quadrant they fit in. So you're more apt to be able to deal better with them.
Yeah.
And then also I'm going to be launching a menopausal educational program, whether you learn it on your own or I'm going to have three night sessions where you can spend with me and I go over the program. And then I will also be launching my own menopausal coaching program. So to help you go through menopause and what to ask doctors, what tests to go through, and also menopause doesn't just affect. It's not just hot flashes and night sweats.
Yeah.
It affects your whole body, and you get to understand what is happening, and it's not. And you get to learn as well that some doctors, like mostly your family physicians, they're not equipped to deal with menopause. I had to go outside of my family physician and my gynecologist and to get more answers. And you really, really have to advocate for your own health and your own healing. And I've gone through it all. So I also share my experience with menopause and how I was able to really successfully go through the healing process and really understand what's going on with my body.
Wow. And going through menopause is a death and a rebirth too, right? It's a new identity. And so I can, it feels like it aligns perfectly with a lot of the other work that you're doing and supporting mostly women. Who is like the ideal client? Who is the best person that you love to support?
I like to support everybody, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It's not just female, it's males as well. And even like the menopause educational program, I really, really advocate that men come through it and just listen to it so they can really understand what their wives are going or their partner are going through, and to really understand what their body's going through, because it actually is going through a grief process, because you lose a lot. You lose. I'm not going to go through like deep specific details, but as a woman going through menopause, you lose a lot, and just to deal with that is a kind of a grief in its own.
Yeah. Awesome. So I wasn't going to ask this, but I'm feeling really inspired too. So I'm going to go ahead. Some of my favorite questions is to ask why your work matters. So why does it matter to you personally? Why it matters to the community, to your influence, to your clients, and then why it matters to the world. And I think probably why I'm feeling so inspired is because I'm feeling so inspired to light people up to do the things that they're meant to do, and meeting them in this moment in time, and like you have, you can't. It's not a time to get quiet, people. We really have to step up and ground in and link arms and really say what does matter and why it matters. So I'd love to ask you those questions. Why does the work matter to you personally?
For me personally, individuals need help.
Mm-hmm.
And they are so reluctant in asking for help. And I know I got the help that I required at the time that I needed, whether it was through referrals or I got to see a life coach as well. And that work of a life coach for me, I'm so passionate in helping people and being able to get them through what they're going through, and they see the haha moment, and when they send me a nice review or just can kind of say, you changed my life, and I'm able to like just function as a normal human being instead of always wondering if I'm good enough or if I'm a failure, or you've shown me my strengths and you've shown me who I can be, and you actually made me who I am today. For me, that's all that matters.
That's the big why. That sounds like the why for you, and then also the why for like your influence, your community. Would that add anything to that? Why it matters to kind of like your community and the people that you're around?
Yeah, well, being able to just serve people and empower them to be who they want to be is just so rewarding for me.
Yeah.
And to be able to deal with somebody that was so low in their life, and they come out smiling, come out just like being so successful, it just touches my heart, and it gives me the passion to continue and to be able to just help people.
Yeah, it's so important and so valuable. And I think just like as an extension from an outside perspective, you're making the world stronger when you support people in their emotional and mental wellness. Like you are creating a domino effect because a strong man or woman is going to go home and be a better partner, a better mother or father. They're going to be better employees. They're just going to be better community members. And so I just want to kind of shine a light on that. And then what the last question is a little bit bigger, kind of the macro vision of it. Why does it matter to the world?
Why does it matter to the world? Because when people really understand each other, when they're able to communicate with each other without judgment, without fear, without anxiety, without being held back, without taking things personally, it just helps the world at large.
Absolutely. It's that domino effect, right? Creating that ripple and creating stronger people are just, it just makes people feel more alive and feel more connected. So that's incredible. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and for coming on today and visiting a little bit about your experience in the book, as well as the great things that you're up to. I just want to say to everyone watching, listening, It's been such an inspiring conversation. To everyone watching or listening, if you're ready to dive deeper into Roxy's insights, be sure to grab a copy of either Mystic Revealed, which is right here, if on Amazon, Sacred Self, Everyday Rituals for the Modern Woman. She also wrote a chapter in that book, which we didn't get to talk about as much. And then Roxy, do you want to hold your book up and remind us of the title?
The title is The Weight of Goodbye, Lessons in Loss and Growth.
Perfect. Grab a copy of those books. And that's it for today's author spotlight. Stay tuned for more incredible interviews with authors who are making a difference. And until next time, keep shining, keep writing, and keep sharing your story. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and goodbye.
Goodbye.